Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast, Monday Night Football. We are back on a Monday night to talk about everything that happened with Club León this past weekend, Jornada 2 game versus PUMAS. We have lots to talk about. We'll definitely recap what happened. Saturday night match. We'll obviously talk about something very, very evident that became very trending on social media. And we'll definitely do a rundown of what Jornada 2 consisted of and preview of the next game versus Puebla. So everybody watching us via YouTube and Periscope on Twitter, let us know your thoughts, your opinions, anything you guys want to share with us. We'll definitely share it on the screen, drop it in the comments section, and we'll definitely have a conversation about it. Carlos, Javi, and Louis, gentlemen, how are we feeling on a Monday night after this weekend?
It's been a great weekend for sports in general, including Club León, but not limited to Club León. So I'm in a very good mood.
Portland won.
Portland won big.
Your Mariners
are on a roll. Yeah, it's been good. I was in Seattle for a couple of games, which is why I was not at this amazing game against PUMAS, which I will always regret on some level forever. But I mean, if I was going to have to miss it, I'm glad the games I did go to ended in very, very positive results. So yeah, but what a game in León. I'm jealous that the one game I had to miss in 6 years at home was as epic as that one clearly was, and I'm sure it was to be at.
Yeah, I'm jealous too of Javier and Cari. I kept watching videos of the crowd, reactions, highlights, and it looked really like a playoff atmosphere. I mean, maybe Cari and Javier can chime in about the atmosphere, but it looked from the beginning, Pumas with their Goya chant and
I
our
hate
fans.
That chant. God, I hate that chant.
And our fans firing back. I mean, it was pretty crazy at the beginning.
It was what I was telling Javi is that at the hotel I was staying at, I mean, there was a lot of Pumas fans. So me and Javi were pretty surprised of how much Pumas fans in their own section they were. So I was just surprised at their attendance. But yeah, very, very much obviously the first game of the season at home. So the atmosphere was so awesome. I've had so much fun that game. Like it was just, besides we're down 3-0, I looked over at my family. I was like, if we score one, I'm happy with that. I want to chant a goal. I did not expect.
Me doy por bien servida. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did not expect what was coming up next. But I mean,
and Cody was there. Who knew Cody was going to be there? The one game I have to miss in 6 years, and
for real,
Cody all of a sudden shows
like
up.
2 hours before.
That's crazy.
You were in my, you were both in my section. You were both in my section because I gave Javi my ticket, but I didn't know you were going to be in the same.
I didn't know I was going to go either. So I had mentioned to you guys I was going to come to Guanajuato to San Felipe, and I left my jersey in Torreon because I was like, I do not think we're going, blah, blah, blah. The night before, we were, my mom and my aunt, we were talking about it, and we're just like, instant, like, let's look at a hotel, book the hotel, let's look at tickets, book tickets. And that was done. The matter of like an hour, I was like booked on twice. So I didn't want to tell you guys, I wanted a surprise. So whenever I took a picture of the stadium,
surprise!
I was like, here I am.
It was a surprise for me too. All I can say about that game is that I wasn't surprised about the Goya chant. It just made me mad. I wanted us to be louder. We always have to be louder than them.
And they did try, Javi.
They tried. And it was so tough after that 3-0. But I don't know if you guys saw my stories. Yo creo que I kept saying, venga, que no se acaba esto, because I just felt that León was being más peligroso. So it felt like a playoff atmosphere for sure. And I think de los equipos en Primera División, I think after America y Chivas is the team you never want to lose to. I think lately, usually, son muchos que llegan a León, al estadio, and it's a very annoying afición being in León. Because it's just a bunch of leoneses that want to prove que fueron a la UNAM.
Well, it's weird in León. They always have more fans for the so-called Cuatro Grandes. There are always more fans at the away games than there are at the home games. That's the dumbest part of it. Like, you go to a game in Seoul, and usually it feels pretty empty. Like the Pumas fans no pesan.
That's what I'm saying. Because muchos son leoneses from León that go for that team.
Yeah. I know it's extremely frustrating, and I think Pumas is the second most annoying visiting fan base after Chivas. Like those two are.
Yeah.
For me,
and Chivas
León,
is number one. Chivas is number one in León.
Chivas is always number one. Chivas is always number one, most annoying in absolutely everything. But Pumas, I think, is a close second in terms of visiting fans in León.
Is Chivas more annoying than America?
Hay mucha gente de Guadalajara en León. There's a lot of people here.
Or Tigres, que son like insoportables.
It's not, but Tigres is not nearly as many.
No, but I mean, based on like the actual how fans are.
Chivas. There's so many people from Guadalajara here in León.
Yeah.
And there's a place where they put these shirts out, right, for you can step on in San Juan de Dios. They don't have the Pumas. They've been having the Chivas one since the beginning of Jornada 1. That just tells you something. Like that's the game you never want to lose here in León.
We need a new video from there of you going into that shop.
Well, I wanted
we need a new one.
They had Chivas. I wanted to put the Pumas one, but they didn't have Pumas. They just had the Chivas jersey. I already stepped on this shirt like 1,000 times, man. How many times have I had to step on the Chivas shirt here in León to understand that, we over here, we don't ever want to lose against Chivas. But I was thinking, like, Louis, I think Pumas is a close second right there with America. But Pumas is just por las Goya chants and all of that. Yeah, it's just
I can't stand that chant.
And
also, like,
we beat them in the final, so you saw Kari. They did not like how they got tied at the end. They were mad.
So when me and Javi were right before we were recording, there was like, the León aficionados chanting, and then a Pumas fan got angry, and then they started kind of trying to beef, and then I was like worried about Javi because I was like, Javi, please don't jump in.
Just like
I was worried
about him in San Luis, talking to the porra from San Luis.
I was gonna stop the fight.
I know, but you were like you were tipsy, and then I was like, I don't want his friendliness to be confused right now. I was like, so
I was thinking like a whole just beat it. We were just gonna dance. They were gonna forget about what team they were. No, I was so drunk that I honestly think that when I don't get violent when I drink, I just get more friendly. And but I just saw that situation, and I just told the other guy to be calm, not to listen to him, because he's obviously mad that his team got. And I was telling you, I didn't like his attitude. He was saying te vemos en Seúl or whatever. I come from Morelos, and I'm like, yeah, you come from Morelos, so you're trying to prove you're a big Pumas fan right over here, and you want to get in the fight so you can show that you're a Pumas fan. That's really what it was. Like, psychology is not that. You can really just tell that was all that about. And I told the other guy, no te enganches, it's not worth it. And that was it. I wasn't going to get in a fight.
Shout out to Sanaku on the comment section, said one of the best comebacks I've seen in a very long time with one man down. Now, the thing that's always pretty, frustrating is obviously I had to message you guys, what is going on? What's VAR looking at? Because we have no idea. So especially from the very beginning, obviously with the penalty and then the man down, I was like, was it really a red? What's going on?
I think that was a red, but it annoys you that he had to go to el VAR. The arbitro, this arbitro is very, very, very.
He's new, no?
I've never seen him officiate a match.
I think it was his first game.
Yeah.
I think it was his first game. Yeah.
Jesus Lopez Valle.
And, that was.
You don't
That was
send
the one
someone like that
benefit
to a
of,
Pumas and Leon game. You know, you don't have that
that was
experience.
one benefit of watching on TV is, you know, you could see what was going on with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I'm glad. I would have been so mad if I would have saw the penalty. The Bellon, that would have made me.
That was, I mean,
how do you expect to fall?
There was criteria to mark it a PK, but that was super weak.
It was.
What are you trying to say?
Super
like,
weak.
How if he's falling, where is he gonna put his hands? Like,
and that's the whole thing with it, right?
A more experienced referee wouldn't have called that.
No. Yeah. And again, vamos a lo mismo. El VAR. El VAR básicamente fue el que estaba arbitrando for this guy. Like, everything he had to just depend on VAR. And whoever this VAR, well, I do know his name, you know, los que estaban ahí en cargo and I just think they were anti Leon, because how are you gonna tell the arbitro, hey, go check that? It was very rigorista, and I just think it was always with Leon. That's gonna be the theme for the tournament, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, let's hope not. But
well, if they keep saying these people, not only los árbitros, pero los del VAR. What is this guy's name? I think I read Eduardo Galván Basulto. Like that, I remember Tito Echeverri was talking about him not that long ago, right now in Tribuneros, and he was saying this is the same guy that they sent in another controversial game with León. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I just don't understand these calls sometimes. La expulsión era expulsión. There's no doubt about it. But still, el árbitro shouldn't have been arbitrando that game, because he couldn't even see it for himself. He had to go. Even una falta con Dávila, that wasn't a falta either. And he just heard Dávila scream, and la voy a marcar. It was just very annoying.
It was a little in over his head. But you know what? El VAR quita, el VAR da. We'll have games where it helps us. Hopefully. There will certainly be another game down the way where what goes around comes around, and we'll get the benefit of some calls we might not have otherwise had. So I'm not too worried about it.
Obviously, except if you're against Atlas and Santos.
I mean, all in all,
no, take that back. No. Iraragorri, please don't sue me. I was joking. It's a joke. It can't stand the comment.
Getting the benefit of too much coming in this season, which is kind of fun to see, but we can get into that later.
Okay, so with that being said, so we can dig into the game. Carlos, are you ready for the pregame?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. First point, huge news, injury report to William Tio. He's going to be out 6 weeks. Huge blow to our defense, but we have the god, Paul Bellon.
Say it. Dilo. Bellon.
Bellon, who's doing a great job. Jugadorazo. I mean, he's looks like he's fitting right in. He's played all 90 minutes. He played all 90 minutes, I think. And so I mean, that's a huge blow to us. But luckily we have Bellon, who's fitting right in. Angel Mena was also back. Armando Leon, I don't know if you guys heard it last week. Armando Leon was transferred to Alebrijes de Oaxaca.
On loan.
A préstamo. I think, a préstamo. And then the big news of the weekend was obviously Santiago Ormeño heading to Chivas. Guys, Santiago Ormeño to Chivas, what do you guys think? Thoughts? I know Lou's going to say, just let him go. He only had one goal. It's cool. But Javi's
just don't play.
Down.
Just don't play against León.
No.
He's gonna come back though, right? It's a préstamo. I just don't want him to.
No, I was a big believer.
I was a big believer
in Ormedeus. I was a big believer in him much longer than a lot of people were. I wanted nothing more than to see him succeed in León. But I mean, I think like just the start that Dios Yorio has had, like there's no way. Ya no hay cupo. He doesn't have any cupo in this team anymore. So, I mean, I think like if that were not the case, I think they'd maybe keep him around. But like at this point, they may as well let him go.
Yeah,
maybe
it's benefiting Grupo Pachuca as well because we're getting trophies. Well, we're not, but the group is getting trophies, which it's not I don't know if you guys want to consider it a good trade-off, but at least we have something in return. It's not like we're just giving up Ormeño for nothing.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of a wash. I mean, Chofis is not living the best moment of his career the same way Ormeño is not. They're both kind of They both seem kind of washed up at the moment, but they both, still have an opportunity to turn their careers around. Probably both need to change the scenery for their sakes. Obviously, Leon doesn't really benefit directly from either of these dudes at the moment, but for their sakes, hopefully they can turn their careers around in a new situation. To me, the most interesting thing about Ormeño is all the controversy about whether he should even be signed by Chivas.
Yeah,
that's pretty annoying, right? Because then they go back to the situation about Conejo Brizuela being born in the U.S., but
yeah,
I don't know. It's yeah.
If you let me, I could rant all day about this. I'm not going to.
Don't do it.
But
I don't think you would like to either. So just sum it up.
I will leave it at this. There's a lot of hypocrisy in what is or is not a Mexicano as defined by Chivas. Cuando les conviene, they bring in someone who was born in the United States, doesn't know anything about Mexico, has never lived here, doesn't speak any Spanish, but was scouted by the Chivas scouts that they have up there in the United States. They find these kids who are born to padres mexicanos and can be naturalizados, and if they can help the team, then that's fine. They would never. Mauro Boselli is naturalizado. There's so many players who are naturalizados in Mexico who are, by the same logic, should be just as eligible to play for Chivas, but they would never, ever in a million years go for those players. In Ormeño's case, for me, he's more Mexicano. He was born and raised in Mexico, formado en Mexico, completely formado en Mexico, but the Selección Mexicana just never gave him a chance. So when Peru came calling, what, is he going to say no? These are two top-class selecciones in Las Americas. He's not going to say no. I just don't see that as a reason to, not just for Chivas to not sign him, but for the fans to be complaining about it. That's the tackiest thing for me. The dude is Mexicano. He plays for Peru because Mexico didn't give him an opportunity. He's more Mexicano than Brizuela, or these guys that they brought in who were born in the U.S. I don't know. I just I see there's a lot of hypocrisy for me there.
You turn and look at Funes Mori, who was naturalizado, but then he plays for Mexico, so it's acceptable. But it's just, I don't get it. Maybe Chile del Norte guys will have a Twitter page or something, and I'll try and join.
But Chivas,
what their conversation is, but
Chivas would never sign Funes Mori. That's my point. They would never, ever sign Funes Mori, even though he is naturalizado, plays for the Selección Mexicana, knows all the words to the Himno Nacional. You can see him singing it in the lineups before the games, But they would never even consider him. I don't know. I will never understand their policies. I just feel like they morph them, they adjust them to whatever is convenient for them, and I just have I don't know. I have very little respect for their signing policies.
It's morbo is to have something to talk to in Fútbol Picante. All I got to say about Ormeño is that le van a poner mucha presión. He's coming as his savior for Chivas. Pues que le vaya bien, nomás que no le meta gol al León. I don't have anything else to say about that. Los que tenemos Diorio, que not even Boselli started off like this. Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna have our Diorio segment. We're gonna have to start a regular Diorio segment, looking just like we had the JJ Macias segment. We're gonna have a Diorio segment because the guy's looking like somebody who can seriously fight for the
campeón goleador.
The crown. Yeah, el campeón goleador.
At this rate, he's gonna alcanzar a Cardoso at this point.
He's going to be legit in the conversation. I don't know about that, but he's going to be legit in the conversation. But
I'm putting it out there.
He's legit in the conversation for campeón de goleo for this tournament.
Most definitely.
And I don't think anybody really would have expected that.
I know, but I don't think. But yeah, nobody expected it. Yeah.
But here's the thing about Diorio. Aparece en los momentos con más presión, más importante. That is a big thing that I put to him. I think no cualquiera mete goles en esos momentos.
No, I think he has great movement and his speed. You're like, oh no, he gets to the ball. Like his speed, like watching him physically, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's super quick.
And he gets himself in the right spots at the right time.
Yeah. One last thing about Ormeño before we move on.
Yes.
Obviously, you want to wish good luck to him. But like Javi said, just don't score against Leon.
Yeah.
But let's just think back, man. All the players that have gone to Chivas from Leon have not done pretty well. I mean, look at Gullit, look at Haris, look at all these other players that left. I think the only one that did well with the rest of his career was Gallito.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wish him the best. Hopefully he does well. Just I hope he does well so that they can exercise his buy option more than anything. Because if we're gonna keep Dillorio long term, he's gonna come back and he's just gonna be sitting on the bench again.
I just I don't know. You guys were in the stadium, so you probably didn't see. But Ormeño was in the stands watching this game and just eating Cheetos,
apparently
having a grand old time. Yeah. He looked like he was thinking about everything in the world except the future of his career. Like, I just don't see it going too well for him in Chivas.
Well, he's relaxing, like give him a little break. Like, obviously, maybe he's had a tough.
Estaba bien acompañado, like Javier says.
Yeah. I don't know. The guy didn't. I mean, we're in pleno torneo, and like the guy needs to find acomodo, and he's sitting there like with not a care in the world. I just looking like he's not thinking at all about his future as a footballer. I just don't.
Wait, let me check this out. Who was he being acompañado with?
I think you're being a little rough, Louis. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you're not included in the squad. You're still, mates not up to him. It's up to them to both agree on. When he's leaving and all that, like let him have a good Saturday night. It's watching his friends.
Yeah, I don't know. I would in his shoes. I would either maybe not go to the stadium or I would sit in the palco.
No.
Like I would sit in the palco.
Maybe it's his last farewell in the stadium. He wanted to enjoy it as a fan.
You should work for PR, man. For Leon's PR. That's true, but he's not thinking like that.
I don't know. I just thought it was a little strange.
Shout out to Roxard Cali. The Green Power Ranger said, bittersweet tie, a few errors by our players and refs. I love the comeback. It showed that the team had heart. The players are trusting the coach. Ormeño enjoying those Cheetos during the game. A laughing face.
Freaking crazy.
Also, Sanaku said, I really do feel bad for him because he wasn't able to do a lot for Leon, but hopefully in Chivas he can, and good her first mentality too. Yes. Definitely good. Okay, so moving along, Carlos, do you want to give us the starting lineup?
Yeah, starting lineup. No surprises. Well, in my opinion, no surprises. Basically the same 11 that we ended up with at San Luis the week before. Rodolfo Cota, Castillo, Barreiro, Bellon, Osvi, who, I don't know, man. I think might be his last chance here at Leon. We'll get into that. Jefecito, Jairo Moreno again, who also did not have a great game, in my opinion. Campbell, Davila, Fede, and Dillorio. We got to come up with a nickname for Dillorio.
The real killer. He's a real killer. I don't know.
But yeah, no surprises, right? Pretty straightforward.
No surprises really.
I'm gonna call him real killer. I'm cool, man. Yeah, no surprises with me either. I think the thing I keep thinking, and I heard Paiva say after the game, he thinks Jairo is even more effective ahí donde lo tiene que por afuera. And I don't know about that, but it just looks like he's gonna keep him there for a while. He just sees things in him en esa posición that we have to pues ojalá y tenga razón, pero yeah, that was the only thing, the Jairo thing. But hey,
well, he's going to keep trying him there. He's going to keep trying him there either until he figures it out or he realizes that's not a viable solution.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I mean, I don't know more than Paiva, but I just think he's more effective por afuera. But from what we've seen in the past, I think a lot of it has to do with maybe Jefecito not being Jefecito and Ivan. Fidel coming back. But I just think he used them there in the practice, and he saw things that he was like, "This is the player I need in this position," and we're gonna see. I don't pretend to know more than Paiva, but I did like what he said about Jairo and about la afición que le estaban pidiendo el cambio. And he
Yes.
was saying, don't tell, because he was saying, don't tell him what to do. Like, that's the worst thing you can ever do to a player. Sí se equivocó durante el partido, Jairo. We know that. But I think you got to give him, anímicamente, what is a coach going to do? Be like, hey, man, you suck, get out. No, he's going to have to be like, concéntrate. He told him before que se acaba el primer tiempo,
Yes.
concéntrate. And look, when the afición was more saying sacan a Jairo, la asistencia a Joel. So, yeah, I think he has a lot of faith in Jairo to being this like really, really interesting player for Leon. Multifuncional, pues.
Very, very strong words by Paiva. You would never hear like Holland say something like this. It's because I mean, think about the many times that our crowd turned on Holland for like putting in a player, not putting in a player, or making the wrong tactical decisions. But Paiva says it straight up, like, "Hey, don't tell me when to sub, who to sub, don't offend my players. Like, please, don't tell me any of that. We're all in this together."
I like that.
I like that, yeah. But I think at the same time, así es el ambiente, not to take seriously. I mean, that's what these players are concentrated, right? They're concentrated in their game. They know mentally what they have to do. El ambiente es el ambiente. I mean, until you're there, you're like screaming like, "Hi!" Like I'd be like, "Hi!" Who would I scream at? Who was it? So whoever lost the ball, I'd be like, "Oh, I meant so. Like, what'd you do?" But it's like, it comes out. It comes out. Like we know what they're capable of, but it's just
But I think que la gente empieza a gritar como fuera, and like for a player in which Paiva understands. I think, and these coaches. This is what I look. The guy behind me, Louis, the guy you got season tickets. Be careful, man. That guy thinks he knows. Yo jugué, yo fui profesional, which is not true. He later said he wasn't true. But he was just saying all these things. I was like, yeah, sometimes la afición piensa que saben más a veces que, and it happens. We do that all the time.
Especially ours.
Yes, but at the same time, I just think that what he's just trying to say is that you never know how these cánticos or chants could affect el transcurso. Maybe they should be professionals. I agree. Don't pay attention. Pero look, we saw what Byron, his situation, how we know this is something that could really affect players. I don't know, because of social media, whatnot. I'm just saying that if Leon's going to be any kind of afición, it should be la afición que quiere Paiva, which is una afición que apoye los 90%. Yeah, say como Cari, no manches, eres un, but nunca dejes de apoyar. Because, like I said, it's true. Jairo, we know what he's capable of. Sí, se equivocó, pero ahí está. El resultado lo mantuvo. Paiva dijo, mira, concéntrate. That's all you got to do. You messed up twice. It's not over till, what is it, Louis? The fat lady that said, you said it one time.
Fat lady sings, yeah. But, well, I love Paiva sticking up for his guys like this. In only the second real match they've played together, like as though they've been in this fight together for years. Yeah. He's sticking up for them like they're already a close, tight-knit family. Maybe they are, but I mean,
maybe they are.
That's the kind of attitude that when you have that sort of attitude around the team, when everybody's in this together, you can remontar a 3-0 deficit. Can you imagine a Holland team?
No, that would have never happened. Can you
imagine a Holland team coming back from a 3-0 deficit like that?
And not just down a man, but many coaches.
Down a man.
We would be like 6-0.
You remember all the fanfaria they did when we lost the first game against Seattle 3-0 and we needed a 3-0 in at home to remontar. And murieron a nada, Who knows if Paiva had been at the helm of that team? Who knows what might have happened? In this instance, they came back from 3 down in one game, in one half, and down a man.
Down one.
That is not something we could have ever expected to see with the previous.
Someone needs to look it up. I don't remember when Leon's ever been in a situation where they've come back from a 0-3 en tu casa con un hombre menos. It just showed a lot of It was a beautiful thing to see.
In less than one half. I mean, we went down 3-0.
It was 50,
in 10 minutes, we scored 2.
58, and 70, I think.
78 or something, right?
We went down 3-0 in the 50th minute or something like that.
Yeah, and then we came back and scored in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Grande de Yoyo.
And from there, the crowd got pumped and was like, "All right, one goal, let's keep going." Right, Javi?
Yeah,
And it
Yeah,
was
just
this is what this was
awesome.
funny. That first goal was all we needed to fire up the stadium. That first goal was like, ooh, we're gonna, and we saw los Pumistas. They were like, oh no, manches, no.
Y
And
se
we're like,
quedaron callados.
sí, and the energy was just you felt it, and León estaba
You felt it.
atacando, and I felt like we manifested that empate based on just the energy on in el estadio. La gente just felt we were gonna tie. Los de Pumas were like, se estaban del miedo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, we weren't supposed to tie this game because we were down a man, 40 minutes left. They're down 3-0. I thought to myself, like, why isn't Paiva closing out this game before it's a massacre? Like, you just close it. Just close it. Take the L. You're down 3-0, down a man. There's no way we can come back. And he refused to. He refused to throw in the towel. And we got one goal. We got 2 goals in less than 10 minutes. And that's when Angel Mena comes in. And he goes, okay, we're going for the tie. And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, as soon as I saw Angel Mena come in, I was like,
that is true.
Release the beast.
La gente, oh, Mena va a entrar, no, el ángel del gol, más que nunca necesitamos un ángel aquí. But what you said was true. It's just the people just felt like, hey, we're not trying to lose this game. We're trying to tie and, if possible, win it. I think we could have won it, to be honest. We got lucky. We got lucky, of course, el poste de ellos. But León llegaba más fácil. León llegaba más peligrosamente.
I mean, here's the big thing about this for me. Like, nobody would have blamed any of us for simply thinking, you know what, this isn't our day. It's Jornada 2. We're still working in players in new positions, and then we're working with an entirely new system that the players are not familiar with, where a lot of these guys haven't played together that very much. I mean, it's Jornada 2. It's early in the season. This is not our day, but it's not the end of the world. You know, we'll bounce back from this, and by the end of the season, you know, this will be a distant memory. But that wasn't good enough for them. They decided, no, we can still get something out of this game, and that makes it all the sweeter. That's why it feels like a draw at home, no matter what the score, is really going to feel like a victory. But this felt way more like a victory than a loss, because we were resigned to not getting anything whatsoever out of this game and being okay with that given the circumstances. Okay, partido condicionado. They gave a weak penalty against us in the second minute. That changed the whole game. And then shortly thereafter, a red that changed it even more. Okay, clearly this just is not our night. And they refused to accept that narrative. A Holland team would have taken that narrative and run to the locker room with it. But these guys, everyone involved, refused to accept that. And that just leaves a really, really good taste in everyone's mouths, I would say.
Like you said, un empate a sabor a victoria, un punto de oro. Y Roberto Gómez Junco said it the best way, una gesta heroica esmeralda. That's what I like to hear, because everybody was saying, hey, look, this is something you don't see every day. A team down 0-3 with one man down, and still the way they came at it, you know. And yeah, I was very happy to felt like what I witnessed. I'm like, damn, am I just being because I'm in the stadium? But I just felt like it was something that I've never really seen León. You know, it always happens to us. Like, ¿qué les cuesta? Louis, that game against Morelia, you know, in Guapos. ¿Qué les cuesta meter un gol así cuando más se necesita? This is why los goles de Di Iorio valen mucho, también con San Luis. Son momentos que yo digo, ¿qué les cuesta? I think, yeah, I was like, I was like, I'm not lying. I was like, we're not gonna lose. I was like trying to like, please. We got at least tie. We got to tie. I believed the whole time. My stories were like, venga, esto no se acaba. When we were 1-3, I really believed that we were gonna do something magical, and I was, you know, praying to whoever I prayed to. I'm not gonna say who, but the thing is that I was very Diego, soy yo de nuevo. No, like I really think that it was something that I'm very glad I witnessed. I really am very happy that estaba ese día en el glorioso, porque la verdad no sé how many games like that have happened in that stadium with that kind of a comeback. And this moment in time in the history of León, which is a moment in time there, I think León, como dicen y lo han dicho, es que León sí tiene equipos, coaches that always want to go up. atacar. And that
Yeah.
is the filosofía de León. That's what we wanted to see. When Carlos said, I was surprised that los cambios que hizo Paiva, la afición loved it cuando entró Mena and loved that we were trying to go for the tie, that we weren't going to be like, hey, we're going to, okay, golearnos Pumas. Because we did not want to lose against Pumas. La gente que estaba en el estadio, la gente que van, ponen la cara, right? Y tienen que salir del estadio. Y tiene que ver gente del otro equipo, que te echen en cara. It's going to get you mad. Like, that's what the player needs to understand. I think Diorio understands it. I think Diorio understands it perfectly. And I think el gol que metió, dije, le pegó ¿cómo le tienes que pegar? A veces quieren hacer una jugada de más en el área. And that's why Diorio, I said, I will love you forever. Mucha felicidad.
I just want to talk about the la afición de Pumas and the media who were like, Pumas ilusiona, and everybody was so happy, like Pumas were, champion, Pumas gonna win the title. And 30 minutes later, it's like, well, what happened to Pumas? Like it was just the complete opposite. And no mention of, wow, León came back.
No mention of León.
Fought back, they clawed back.
Well, some, like I said, Roberto Gómez Junco, just the real, los verdaderos periodistas deportivos, they're never going to try to say something that does not make any sense. Como dijo Roberto Gómez Junco, fue más lo de León. Sí, la defensa de Pumas. And I will say this, I was never scared of Pumas. I didn't think they were peligrosos at all. El primer gol no era penal. Y los otros goles eran errores también de León. Pero León, I thought, was playing incredibly. Llegaba muy fácil al área de Pumas. There was only one play where, I'm not saying they weren't dangerous at all. Tienen un tridente interesante. I think they have a good team. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Tienen dos empates que les saben a derrotas. And León, after this point, is all up. It's anímicamente. This is going to be something that they know it's in their arsenal. They know they can come back from this type of adversity. So yeah,
definitely trending upward. I'm excited for Friday's match against Puebla. Two teams that are trending upward, coming out of
Puebla,
the
dos
gates.
victorias consecutivas.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about the competition they faced, but still.
But Puebla's
two teams that are
every year. Come on.
No, but two teams that are trending upward. I think it should be a fun match on Friday, but we'll get into that.
Are you guys going out there?
I am not gonna go.
Daddy, are you gonna make a surprise?
No, I'm heading back to Torreon on Wednesday, so I will not.
But I'll be in Guadalajara. Okay, Louis is not going alone to Guadalajara.
So Louis traveling solo.
Yeah, I'll be at the Santos Chivas game on Saturday. So, but hey, we all need to talk about it. Maybe go out. All of us go for a home game later in the season.
Yeah.
Maybe we can witness something more awesome. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Vamos a la final vamos a ir.
Okay.
Hey, with San Diorio up front there, anything's possible.
San Diorio.
Anything's possible.
You mean real killer?
Yeah.
Another player I enjoyed was Barreiro. I enjoyed Barreiro.
Muy bien partido de Barreiro.
Partidazo. He's the new leader of that defense. Right now, he's the leader.
He was just like going up and off, and I was like, "Where's Barreiro coming from?" And did you guys see Bellón?
Sí.
Bellón que se aventó desde atrás. Y
that's something I didn't know.
Was like, ole, ole.
I didn't know he could do that. I didn't know he could do that. But here's the thing: that shows a lot of attitude. Porque I felt como we know que no era penal. Hopefully that didn't get to him, and he was showing that he wanted to prove. It's like when a player loses a ball and you have to go back and recuperarla, te la acaban de robar. It's like he was trying to prove that throughout the whole game. Like, hey man, it's not gonna get to me, and I am young Nacho Gonzalez.
There's a lot of talk on Twitter about how the way he moved and his body movement and everything is very similar to Nacho.
Paiva.
Maybe
all
a bit
Paiva
more.
too. Like Louis mentioned, like he has a good eye. I mean, that's
my candidate for Rookie of the Year.
Bellón?
Bellón. Yeah. I mean,
2 games, but I'm just so happy with him. Like I feel good about him.
He was in the league. Jornada 1, he was.
Even though we do still need to work on defense and stuff like that.
Well,
obviously, it's a bit.
With that in mind, I think you guys saw that it looks like our nuevo central was confirmed today. Yes.
Celestin.
Yeah.
How old is he? Is he
24.
late 20s?
He's like 24, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under $1 million, como les encanta el Grupo Pachuca y León.
I saw I didn't know if it was actually confirmed because the club didn't want him to go.
I was watching Tribuneros, Israel Romo. He was like, you know what? It's a risk because it's a player that doesn't know the league, right? He's never played in Liga MX. He's coming in fresh, doesn't know his teammates. So it's a big risk to bring in a player like this.
It's a weird thing, right?
Like I would much, I mean, I don't know. I would much rather have another player from La Segunda División, like who knows the league, who knows these players, right? As opposed to someone who's coming from overseas that we've never heard of, doesn't even know the league, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm with you, Carlos. I really am. But at the same time, like, I trust Paiva. Like, there's a reason.
Because he said there was 3, right?
If they went after this person in particular, there's a reason for it. And I mean,
I agree with that.
The two players that Paiva specifically asked for. I'm not talking about Campbell and Jairo that were already with us. That they were already in the system. No, I'm talking about Villorio and Bellon. Have been resounding successes. So I will reserve judgment. I mean,
and also
paper, it's a big,
Paiva might know
risk,
French,
but
he's European. He might
but
help him out.
Paiva must know something about this guy. Paiva must know something about this guy that we don't. Julien Celestin.
The more I time passes, Paiva is like really not growing on me as a. I know his su capacidad, like I know what he could do, but just his insight and just I guess his wisdom when it comes to understanding when you need a player, when you don't. He talked about Boselli possibly. He was in the list of coming, but he was like, ahorita yo sé que para la afición es muy romántico traer para atrás a Boselli, but no me funciona ahorita en lo que yo quiero hacer con mi equipo. I think he understands these players from like Diorio, I think, and Jairo. Tienen cosas, like Diorio protege bien el balón, corre y parece bien, y peina bien las jugadas de pelota dividida. I think he might see in this Celestin is very tall. So he might have him in lo tiene como en un plan táctico. And, again, I think the thing is going to be when Tecillo comes back. And if Bellon becomes super mega, Nacho Gonzalez, who's going to take that away? Who's going to take that position away from Bellon? It's going to be Celestin just because he comes from Europe. Obviously, Tecillo has to have, hopefully it's a healthy competition.
Right. If the best thing that comes out of this is that, Bellon just establishes himself in that position through hard work and healthy internal competition, then that's, even if Julien hardly ever plays except in emergencies, I mean, then that's already ganancia.
Yeah.
Like that would be a very good outcome from the situation. But look, Paiva, he was a director of the academy at Benfica. I mean, he knows.
He has a good eye.
I think he has a good eye for talent. He has a good eye for what he wants. Like I trust him with this signing. It's anybody knows. I mean, and the second division of France is like that's not going to make anybody too excited. But that doesn't mean that
it's like Bellon. Bellon comes from UDG. And I think the cool thing, you're right, Louis. The thing about Paiva is no se deja llevar por los medios, por como inflan a un jugador and tiene este valor, and it's like, a lot of players say, I saw this player and porque tuvo unos buenos partidos, all of a sudden they think he's going to be the next. But Paiva, what he does is he actually sees the player. De las condiciones, whether you're worth the money or not, he just knows what you can do. He has a good eye for skills, certain kind of skills, and what he saw in Bellon, like that's crazy. Like, lo sacó de segunda. So
I think I'm a bit with Carlos though. I think it is a risk. Obviously, we've seen Villorio has worked out in the first 2 games. Bellon has worked out in the first 2 games. Byron, he's getting up there. I think it's a bit of. I think he may be a bit of a risk. I mean, I'm not saying no confío en lo que I was eye on players, but I think I'm with Carlos in a way. I would be more comfortable. We have another player that's already established in the league because we've had players like Gary. What happened to Gary? Gary didn't work out. He left 6 months later.
Hey, man,
Gary was washed.
Don't talk about Gary like that.
I'm just saying respectfully, like,
hey, Gary, man, leave Gary alone. Gary.
No, but I'm talking about. I mean, we've
Just the
had
name.
we've taken risks with players that
He was
haven't
pretty
worked
old,
out.
and let's be honest.
Yeah,
But you
Gary-
can't. No, but
Gary's
age
washed up.
is not. No,
With
Sampuesto's
some
not
players,
washed out.
with some
Chapizo's
players,
not washed out.
with some players it's
no,
different.
no.
Y la
Take the
posición
age
también
out.
tiene mucho que ver.
Take the age out.
And also his stay in Peñarol was already pretty much over. He was going to retire, and he had this opportunity to come over. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
age
think it's
doesn't
different.
always matter. Age doesn't always matter, Cuddy, but sometimes it does. Like, not all 34-year-olds are created equal. I think in this case, it was a 34-year-old who was washed.
Think about Zidane. He retired early because he said he couldn't play anymore. You know, and just some players aren't like Cristiano Ronaldo who can play till you're 45.
I think the only thing here
he's a freak of nature, but yeah,
that I agree
we talked about this, Louis.
With Louis and Javier is like the fact that Renato Paiva
But I agree with Carlos
multiple times in press conferences that no vamos a firmar nomás por firmar. Like, we're not gonna bring players just because we need them. Yeah, just to bring them.
Yeah.
Like something about Ormeño. He said Ormeño's leaving, and don't think I'm gonna bring someone because he's leaving.
Yeah.
He said he pretty much
he likes to scout. Obviously, that's his specialty.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he's already brought in 2 really good refuerzos that are, you know, giving us good results. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's kind of like 50-50 here.
Yeah, it's 50-50. I agree with you, Carlos. The fact that he's French and doesn't probably know Spanish, but how maybe Paiva knows a little French. He's European, but at the same time, I agree with you. It is a risk. It is a risk. I agree. Pero a este punto, who else do we bring? I think time is running out, and they need a central. I think they're trying to bring uno que no cueste mucho, who's young, and you know, maybe he could shine here, and probably
he could be our Guignac defensor.
We'll have a French
a Frenchman
back.
Bellón y Celestín, ahí está.
Yeah,
central francesa.
But yeah, all in all, I think
it put Jairo on the left, on the left back, and
well, he did play on the left back, but he was, you know, obviously not that great.
No, I mean, did I say Jairo? Tecillo, put him on the left back, put Tecillo on the left back, and Jairo más arriba, like a winger. I don't know. Try these things, Paiva.
All in all, I think what me and Javi lived was crazy, and it's a tie. Que no sabe a gloria, and we're gonna keep on moving forward. Obviously, Osby won't be available next game, which, you know, we get tired of talking about the good and the bad in Osby, which we're gonna go ahead and digress and leave it up to next episode.
He's never gonna get into Louis' heart.
Not mine either. So it makes 2 of us. 2 of us.
Poor Osby.
I just saw on Twitter that Ormeño did his test, so there you go. For sus médicos for Chivas. Let's go ahead and do the rundown. Starting off on Friday, Tigres beating Mazatlán 1-0. Very dull game. Puebla beating Santos 1-0. Omar Fernandez played the whole game. There you go. He's back. He's back with his team, his old team. Which I don't know. Think about it. We had Omar Fernandez and Ormeño. Now we don't have either of them. And then
think about that.
Great season with
think about just for having a great season, and no sé qué tanto tu valor sube, and like I'm telling you, like maybe it's not always about that.
Juarez beating Xolos 2-0. Our 3-3 draw versus PUMAS. Chivas losing to San Luis 1-0. Pachuca beating Cruz Azul 2-1. Monterrey beating América 3-2, which was very
and there were so mad los americanistas. Los robaron. ¿Cómo se siente?
León 2.0, a.k.a. Toluca beating Atlas 3-2.
Sufriendo un poco al final.
And Necaxa beating Querétaro 2-1. Anybody watch any of the other games?
I watched the Toluca Atlas. Navarro score and act like he's Toluqueño since forever.
I caught a couple of them.
Yeah.
What other game that I watch? I watched a couple. I just can't remember.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of the Necaxa game too.
Well, moving on to Wednesday is going to be America versus Toluca. Then moving on to
Because
Friday.
America has to play in Vegas against Chelsea. That's why they're doing it.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Viernes Botanero, Puebla versus León, which Louis, you will be going.
Yeah,
I'll
so
be there.
Louis.
Yep.
Nice. Let's go.
I will be there.
Juárez versus Toluca, the other Friday game. Saturday, we have Atlas versus Cruz Azul. Saturday, we have Santos versus Chivas, so I'll be at that game. Pumas versus Necaxa on Sunday. San Luis versus Monterrey also on Sunday. Tigres versus Xolos, and Monday Night Football, Pachuca versus Mazatlan. So far in the standings, Toluca is in first place, second Puebla, third Pachuca, fourth Juarez. We are currently in fifth, and then Monterrey is in sixth so far after 2 jornadas. So, let's see. What else was I going to say? Apparently, Soteldo will be leaving Tigres. Did you guys hear about Carlos Salcedo coming back to Liga MX? I mean, there's just a lot of things going on. And Dani Alves possibly giving Pumas the yes on coming to Liga MX, which will be very interesting if that happens.
Se merecen los dos.
I don't know. I'm kind of like I'm kind of in between.
It'll make the league more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Other games.
Yeah.
He even said that ya hablé con la directiva, and I told him straight up, don't expect me to be Dani Alves used to play, like, which is kind of sad. Where are you going to sign a player that's just saying that? You know, he's not trying to, like, don't make him this bomba, but he's going to be a bomba por mediático.
Yeah.
Kind of like
that's all. That's all they're going for with that.
Yeah. That's all that is. Para maquillar que tiene una defensa muy mala. Y le van a pasar
I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm always going to be a Real Madrid fan, and I've had moments where I could not stand Dani Alves, but I think all in all, I think coming to Liga MX, at least, you know, seeing if he plays or how good or not, it's something different, something that adds to the league, a little bit more excitement. But
yeah.
But luego la gente, because, you know, the whole MLS, Liga MX fan bases, they attack MLS for being un lugar que te retiraban los jugadores. And what is La Liga Mexicana becoming now? So what kind of players do you want to come? De calidad. Well, yes, I mean, he's Dani Alves, La Bomba.
Right? Who else came?
We brought Landon Donovan. I mean, that wasn't that cool. I mean, I love him because he's Captain America, but I mean, there's been a lot of situations, man. Antes sí habían bombas. Zamorano al América, Piojo. You know what I mean? Like, it is.
Well, I mean, look who. I mean, you got Chiellini and Gareth Bale at LAFC. I mean, how much do you think they're getting paid? You can't compare to those points.
Yeah,
that is true.
Take the experience versus the money. I mean, Gareth Bale, Carlos Vela are going to be probably playing a golf course every other weekend.
But that's the reality. Dani Alves, to be honest.
Of course, we want the youth. Okay, looking into the preview against Puebla. Like Louis had mentioned, will be an interesting game. Puebla is currently in second. We're in fifth. Guys, what are we expecting of this Friday Botanero game? How we are coming into this game?
I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of attacking. Yes. Puebla is always strong at home. And it should be really interesting. Two teams that out of the gates here are trending upward for sure. And I think it should be really interesting. I think there's a real opportunity here to get some good points.
I'm expecting Paiva to understand que a Puebla tienes que atacar, right? And I think I think against San Luis and especially against Pumas, that's going to be he's going to attack. And Puebla attacks pretty well, so I think la mejor manera para, you know, stop that is attacking them nonstop, full throttle attack. I think that's what you got to do with Puebla. So I would want to expect that. I would want to see that. Una alineación donde just because you're visitante, you're not going to, you know, don't respect them. Don't even give them play like you're one man down, like literally.
Yeah, so, no, there's not that'll be interesting. Biden's going to have Maxi Araujo on that side, so you're going to have to draw him on that wing.
Interesting.
We'll probably see Omar Fernandez start. Who else do they have? I don't watch too many Puebla games.
We should have a Puebla expert on this.
What's his name?
Jordi Cortizo.
¿Cómo?
Reyes.
Israel Reyes.
I know some players. Can't remember. I'm blanking out.
They have a few good players, and obviously they have Larcamón, who's been doing well over the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, you love him, Carlos. You love Puebla. I know. I could tell. Last couple of podcasts, I've been hearing you be like, Puebla, el equipo más de la década. No, you're right. You're right. I think Puebla is that team that's, TV Azteca. Because I think pertenece al equipo. So it's a lot of that.
Yeah, I think over the past couple matches that we've played, these two teams, León and Puebla, there's like a little rivalry going on there. It's not an official rivalry, but I'm just talking about like the last 2 years. Cuando
playoff games
en liguilla, they thought they were gonna eliminate us, but then we came back home and eliminated them, and then it happened the next year again. So there's a little rivalry there. So it could get
in the last couple of years, and also historically, the whole that they are not Puebla FC, bro. No son Puebla, es el Unión de Curtidores. Come on, we all know this. 2000 los compró. So aquí hay mucho de eso con Puebla.
We'll have to bring back Javi's history section for next podcast.
Oh, the guy behind me bought me a beer because he was like, a ver, bueno, ¿a poco tú sabías que aquí en el 70? Sí, Torreón fue goleado por León 11-2. Y sí, Salomón le metió 7 goles. Ay, bueno, no. And I'm like,
we'll definitely have to bring Javi back in his own little. I'm gonna have to update your clip.
Then I took it to 1946. Yeah. El güero. I mean, ¿por qué seré? ¿Por qué será que me dice güero? I mean, so the point is that he was surprised. He was like, how old are you? How do you know so much about León? I took it back to 46. He was like, León muchas finales perdió. Y la primera fue contra el Atlante, cuando hicieron 2 finales en la Ciudad de México. They made up, this is true, they made up una gripe que supuestamente tenía aquí en las vacas, en la leche, and they were like, they put that in the periódicos. León jugó la final de ida, and what happened was that when they went back to León, sacaron estos en los medios de comunicación, el Atlante no viaja a León, so León had to go back to Mexico City to play y le dieron la vuelta el Atlante, they became campeones. But then the next tournament, en la primera jornada, León le mete 11 goles a 1. So,
damn.
Yeah. Okay. Arriba la Fiera. But at the same time, I love talking about history. I get free beers.
So, obviously, we know OSV will be absent next game. What are we thinking? Jairo starts?
You gotta have Jairo.
Or
Oscar Villa.
You gotta have Jairo there. Oscar Villa is too much of a risk, man. Like, I don't know if he's ready for first division. I think Jairo's probably gonna start.
Come on, Jairo. I mean, I think that's the best. I don't know. I think
that's
Jairo,
his best position.
Because who else? I mean, of course, Villa, but
Villa, and that's it. That's all we have.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
I'm saying, ojalá y no sea tan terco el Paiva que diga, no, yo lo vi ahí jugando perfecto. Okay, maybe that's true, but we also know he's very good como lateral. So why experimentar right now against Puebla, which could be a very important game. Un equipo que, they're segundo. You see, we keep beating these teams like the way they've been playing, and just, I think more people are going to have to tragar sus palabras. Mucha gente va a tener que tragar sus palabras. That's all I want this season. Que gente, Mario Carrillo, sobre todo, que dijo que León iba a ser sotanero. No.
So we'll definitely
what are we doing here?
What that lineup looks like, but I think we can all agree we kind of want the same lineup apart from whoever's
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same lineup.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and go to prediction time.
Prediction time!
Viernes Botanero prediction time. Louis, give us your predictions, sir.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very offensive-minded, back-and-forth kind of game. 3-1, Leon.
Wow.
Go big or
I
go
like
home.
that.
I mean,
I like that.
Okay. Shout out to Todd. I forgot to put his comment. I missed a Leon match. Was at another match that will not be mentioned. Dunk on me, Louis. LOL.
Yes, we were in attendance at consecutive matches. A Mariners game where we were both going for the same side, and then Timber Sounders where we definitely were not. And
Yeah, because
I'm not gonna rub it. I'm not gonna rub it in your face, Todd.
Shout out to Todd.
You're a good dude. You're a good dude, and a shout out. I'm glad we were able to run into each other. Hope it happens again.
Cool. Javi, your prediction, sir. You got one chance. No changing.
Why would I have ever changed my prediction? I've never done that in my life. You know what? Can I go 3-1 too? I think that's what I was gonna say, and it's like if I change it, it's not really my prediction anymore, and it's like 3-1. I overthink
3-1.
this all the time, but yeah.
You overthink it too much. 3-1. Carlos, your prediction. Viernes Botanero contra los Camoteros.
I also think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Wait, can I? No, I'm playing.
No empieces.
No, I'm playing.
I'm gonna go 3-2. I think it's a high-scoring game. I think we give up a couple, but it's again the resiliency in this team. I think we'll be able to get out of there with the win. 3-2.
3-2. Okay. Sanaku on the chat
Look at Sanaku.
said 2-0. I'll be different. I'm going with a 3-0. Hopefully,
That's a
it would
very
be
cool
good to leave them scoreless. Did anybody get last prediction right? No, nobody predicted a draw, right?
Ain't no one predict
No.
3-3. Ain't no one predict that.
No, not dead. Well, guys, anything else before we go?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure I thought like a note. No, that was pretty much it. You guys talked about Celestine and Ormeño, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
We're good.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take off. Shout out to everybody that commented on the chat today. Shout out to Sanaku, always giving us good comments. The green, I was gonna say Spider-Man, green Power Ranger. Shout out to Todd. For keeping us updated with what you guys are thinking throughout the podcast and sharing your comments. Shout out to everybody that is watching us via YouTube and Twitter. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We'll definitely be back next week after the Viernes Botanero to see how that game ended. Hopefully it's another happy Monday Night Football, and if it's not, we'll still be here talking about the game. So
it will
we will be. And don't forget to follow Club Leon in English. If you guys are missing the game for any reason, you need updates, live updates of the game, go ahead and follow Club Leon in English to keep you updated and with other news. And then we'll wait to see if Celestine will be confirmed club official in the next couple of days. So don't forget to follow us on all social medias. Don't forget to follow Louis, who will be present on a Friday. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you on another episode of the Lions Podcast.